What's going on, guys? Kai here. Today we're talking about Swordsman. We're doing an updated guide showing you the abilities, fairies, rotations, everything you need to know, wills, cores, all these things for Swordsman, both Gladiator and Berserker. If you're ready for that, let's jump into it. Alright guys, starting things off, we're going to talk about class advancements. Generally you like to go for one T4, then the other, then either if you have very juicy T5s, go after those. If not, get T4s on your other class and then come back for T5s. As for the T4 you want to go for here, we have attack and HP steal rate. This is going to be the go-to if you are Berserker. It's actually labeled correctly, Berserker T4. And HP steal rate for Gladiator. That is due to their passive, giving you attack based on your HP. You're always going to want damage, and this is going to give you damage while also giving you HP. Get the other one once you're done. Go and get your other T4s from your other one, and then we have attack block and defense break. Now what's interesting here is these are also labeled pretty nicely. Berserker, you want to go for this one, the defense break, because Berserker, they turn their defense into attack. So giving you that extra defense is also giving you damage, and break is going to give you more damage overall as well, allowing you to get past block of the opponent. As for Gladiator, attack and block, attack is always good. You're never upset to have attack, but block is very important for a Gladiator because you're trying to be a tankier character. Now let's talk about the actual skills. Alright guys, so as far as the skills themselves, people are confused of what way do they level them up, and that's going to depend on each class, but generally I want you to get the 4 major skills you're doing up to level 10, do the quest for them, get them up to 10 again, and then you want to work on your outside skills, the deepen skills. Now, you want to pay attention to these. When I went over the priest ones, you saw we got some cooldowns on some very important ones. Also the case on Dragon Knight. Now what's important over here is Gladiator, all their skills, well 3 of their skills, Uppercut, Moonslash, and Punitive Chop, heal you based on damage dealt. And what's important is their deepen skills are flat additional damage. It's not just crit damage, which a lot of these things are, but as we see here is just additional damage, additional damage, additional damage. So this is effectively more damage, more healing. So this is just a flat damage increase, always going to be good to have. The other skill we're going to be using for Gladiator is going to be Soul Blast to reduce their defense and block, as well as a knock up against adventurers. If we look over here, also additional damage. But this is going to be our last priority for deepen skills to increase, because all this is going to be is damage, whereas the other 3 skills is going to be damage plus more healing. So for if you want to get kind of an auto thing going on, this is what I suggest. Uppercut to get in, Soul Blast, knock up, then while they're up in the air, pull them in with Moonslash, I'll show you once we get to the dummy. You can knock up and then reposition yourself to be between the person who's in the air and another opponent, then pull them both together so they both get hit by Punitive Chop. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 combo, and even the number 1 could be the number 4, depending on how you want to do things once we talk about PvP. Now, as far as Berserker, this is very interesting because they are made for PvP. That is ideally because Flash, as we see right here, if you kill a target with it, it refreshes. So theoretically, you can go kill, 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 and keep going. But as you see right here, cooldown is halved for killing monsters. So this is going to be your number 1 PvP skill to go after. If we look over here, crit damage plus 2000. Now that is a high number, as we see right here, plus 700, plus 300, plus 900, plus 1100. So the crit damage ones, you do have to crit to get anything out of it, but when you do, it's going to be a bigger chunk. Very similar to how we have damage increase and PvP, adventure damage increase. Damage increase works on everything, including fairies, including PvE, whereas adventure damage increase is just damage you deal with your skills to your opponent, which can only be against players. It's a smaller amount. Now, as far as PvE, you have 2 options for this. You can either make it your the class that you're staying in the longest time, and that would be Berserker is a great way to go. Or you can go just, this is my swap class, where I'm only in here to use skills, and then swap back to my main class, and then you would want to go Berserker. Gladiator. For the swap class Gladiator, you would just use the 4 skills I just showed you, and you'll be fine. You could swap Uppercut with either combo hit or crosscut. It'll be fine. If you want to do this as your main class, where you stay in here the most often, that would be with Berserker. And really, it would be, let me show you right here. Alright, right here, and also in this order. Reduce defense and block, do the big damage, reduce their attack. You can put this in the other direction. It doesn't generally matter. And the 4th skill, we're using Flash Slash because it's always 2 attacks. This is our ace in the hole. This is a good burst skill because you can go dash forward, dash back, and then hit them with both ends immediately. It is more damage, obviously, than Uppercut because you can do them both immediately. The Deepen skill is crit damage, so it's not going to be super important unless you have a high enough crit. Now, let's go over to the fairies, talk about what we're doing with those, and then we'll look at combos. Now, as you know, in PvP, holies are going to be the most important. It's also even more important for Berserker because of that Flash skill. Remember, if Flash kills, it resets. And that is something very important with the Slaughter core as well as Holy. These are both per person cooldowns. So if you get someone low enough and then you hit them with a Flash, which procs Holy and Slaughter, it kills them. It gives you more damage on your Flash attack, and then you can immediately hit the next person with Flash. Hopefully they're in the range to trigger both of them as well. Now, this is obviously Magical Christmas Land, but that is ideally what you want to be going for. Now, if you have to pick an element, then for Gladiator, if you trying to be a full tank, I suggest going for water. That's going to increase your self-healing. It's going to give you a higher HP, which is also going to give you higher damage. If you want to go for a brawly type, then Earth is fine. It's generally falling off where we are right now in the game, because people are bursting enough to get past that defense. There's so much pierce, break going on right now that unless you have killer defensive stats, Earth isn't really doing it right now. So I suggest for Gladiator either going full tank water, or if you want to do some damage, Wind is actually a very good option for Gladiator, giving you some damage reduction. This is a better brawler type for this situation. Some cooldown on your punitive chop combo is obviously very, very important. As for Berserker, as I said, Holy is very, very important. Some of our deepen effects are crit damage, so getting fire is very good. This also increases our damage in general, allowing us to, as I said, go for these one-hit kill flashes. Now, the other option here for specifically Berserker is Earth, because it gives you defense and damage, which Berserker turns defense into damage, so it gives you damage and damage. Important to point out a few fairies that really matter here. For Earth, your main one is going to be Tulip. That's going to give you a big burst of defense, as well as the reflect damage on the opponent, giving you all this defense, which is damage for you, as well as more damage. Now, if you're doing the fire, Hydra of Flames is going to be huge for you, because she herself does a massive amount of damage, as well as gives you some important stats for your burst. Now, talking about wills and cores. For cores, Slaughter is going to be super important for Berserker, everything you do. For PvE, no matter which way you go, Mantra is pretty good. Fierce Attack is also pretty decent. If you're going the Slaughter route, especially for Berserker, Break Free is going to be your main go-to. If you are unable, it's pretty hard on this, because there really isn't a lot of great options for Berserker specifically. I suggest going for Break Free as soon as you can. If you need to fill in one slot, then Soul Hunt is okay. You just don't have a lot of things to trigger it yourself, unless you have a secondary class that has a lot of CC. As for Gladiator, Soul Hunt is massive for them. It gives you a bunch of damage, which is also more healing for you, which is also very, very great. If you're worried about opponents healing, then God Bless Heal to stop their healing is very powerful. But you want to be changing your basic attack target all the time to keep the debuff applied. As far as the will cores for Gladiator, I suggest if you're going to go full tank, it's pretty simple. God Bless and Rigidity. 6/6, 6/6, and then you're good to go. If you want to be a brawler type, then Slaughter, God Bless. You just have to be a little bit careful, because you will be kind of squishy until your God Bless stacks up. So you want to use some dodges, you want to use a skill, walk away, use a skill, walk away, let that timer go until your God Bless is triggered and give you that full damage reduction, and then you can fight. Now let's go over and show you some combos. Alright, these are going to be PvP combos, and a lot of them are going to be Gladiator based, because and it's actually just going to be these 4 skills. There are a lot of combos you can do with just these 4 skills. Now let me show you the basic combo we talked about. You can either just click the button, which I know a lot of people do when you're playing on mobile, or what I suggest is click and hold. And as you can see, uppercut is actually a lot more dynamic than you would think. A lot of people would think, oh, just walk up and then you slash them. Which, if you just click the button, you would have to be here, where it's at the middle of him. Let me move over so I can show it to you. Where it's at the middle right there before you can even cast it. Whereas if you click cast it like I'm doing right now, I can hit him from here. Which I will do the combo from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And it just feels so good to do that combo, right? That just looked so smooth to do it like that, I believe. And you see the 1.3 million damage punitive chop based on HP. Let's summon it again. Now you can do a similar combo, but instead of starting with uppercut, you can use it as a chase skill later on. A big issue with starting with uppercut is you are moving towards them. It's very quick, but you are moving towards them on the ground. They can react to it, they can dodge, they can use other skills. What's technically faster is dodging into them, which gives you invulnerability on your way in and either forces them to use a dodge or push you in a great position. And what's interesting is Moonslash has kind of a priority to it. It doesn't say it anywhere, but if anyone was in that range, when you click the button, even if they used a dodge, they will 9 times out of 10 get pulled back in unless they time it perfectly, which is really, really hard to do. So you have two options for this. You can either use a dash to get in, and once you're in range, and you don't have to be on top of them for either of these, you can be roughly here, show you the range, you can be here, and then you can either do the combo, skip number 1 and just do 2, 3, 4, and then wherever they go afterwards, you use uppercut to chase them. Ideally doing, as I said before, the push and hold method as I'm showing you right now, which will allow you to dash even further to catch back up with them. And as you saw that slam on the ground, it isn't a knockup, but it's kind of like an interrupt. It's not going to do a knockup or knockback, but it will stop them from moving for just a fraction of a second. The other option is if it looks like they're going to dodge, forcing them to dodge based off of your dodge, you can Moonslash, and the thing is, it's just a massive range. So almost no matter where they dodged, it pulls them right in. And once they come back to you, then you hit them with the knockup, punitive chop, and then go after them with uppercut wherever they end up going, or swap to your other class and use it that way. As far as what other class is an option, you can either go priest to have a more offensive heal, a cleanse, more shred for their block, as well as shred their tenacity, give you good AoE damage and more field control. Another decent option right now is people are also putting this with Dragon Knight to just have the most amount of CC. You're getting a massive 90% HP steal rate from class advancements, which is very good for free-to-play players, because if you're a spender, you will get to a point later on where you actually get above 100%, which doesn't do anything for you, which free-to-play will eventually get to, but it's going to take months. So you're good for a long, long time. We're going to have the next class by then, so you'll be good to go. Dragon Fighter isn't bad itself. It does have some CC. It does have some way to get out of effects. But I generally push towards Priest or Dragon Knight. If your team has enough CC, you can try to be an offensive brawler style with that Dragon Fighter. Now, let me show you what we're doing with Berserker. Now, Berserker is going to be all about the passive, which can be a little confusing. So, first is the number one part, which is if you're not in rage, every 3 seconds you get 15%. When you're at 100%, you go in Berserker. Berserker, you lose defense, gain attack and damage, and you're immune to knockups and knockbacks. But if you swap classes, you lose everything. And it also doesn't save as you go. Now, number 3 is the one I don't see people taking advantage of enough for the people that actually play Berserker. And that is, if the target is under 50%, whenever you hit them with any skill, obviously it has to be Berserker to get rage, but if you hit them with a skill, then you get 10% rage. Now, if we look at the multiples of 15, we end up at 90 and then 105, right? So 90 plus 10 is 100, right? So 15, 30, 60, 90. So 6 times 3, 18 seconds, plus 1 attack with this allows you to rage. But you can also get 4 attacks, cut 2 of them off, and now you're at 12 seconds to transform. And this actually scales pretty nicely. And what's interesting is you have a great skill to allow you to do that over here in Flash Slash. And why that is Flash Slash does a dash forward and then gives you Flash Slash Link, which is another dash that does comparable damage. That's 2 skills in one, very similar to what the Lancer class Dragon Fighter does. So you also have fast cooldown skills. If you would like to use combo it, you can. I generally prefer uppercut, allowing me to get a little bit of self-healing, which I find very important on Berserker, but this is an option for you. Now, the build I'm going to be showing you the combo for is what I talked about before. We're going to do a very similar kind of opening to what we just talked about Gladiator. It's not going to do the same amount of initial burst, but for sustained damage in PvP specifically, this will be higher. So if we go back to the dummy, we're going to do the same 1-2 opening, dash, slash, and then at this point, you have to decide. Generally, I'll probably use a flash, knowing that I'm not in rage. I'm probably not going to get the kill in the next couple seconds, so it's fine to just count towards my rage. And then once you're past this point, you can use dash, and then if you hit something, dash back to go towards the target. What's pretty cool is you can use the dash through the enemy and then actually just take 1 step behind them and dash back through them if you're trying to get to someone way back there in something like Top League or Shrine. I think Shrine specifically is something that this class does very, very well in, because you can keep up your rage pretty long, as well as get to these points where if people throw out a couple skills, then you can just walk up, uppercut, flash, they're dead. Then on to the next person, which you have another 2 dashes, and then flash, flash. You can have this magical Christmas land where you use uppercut, flash, there's a kill, flash, flash, onto this guy, and then now I put them in that sweet spot, flash them, because it came off cooldown because I killed the last guy, And then I still have Flash Slash Link, the fourth skill that has a second shot, go towards this guy and then flash them, allowing you to get a 3-kill, really quick kill streak. And remember, in something like Shrine Peak or Guild War, that's where this class really shines, doing some guerrilla tactics, going in, pap, 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 go to the next guy, especially being able to swap your loadouts as you go. I'm going to use my fire over here for the big burst. I'll then swap to earth, keeping up my rage, go to this guy, use my combo, keep it pushing. As far as something like Burning Soul Battle, I don't think it's going to hold up. But in those big group PvPs, I think Berserker is still pretty decent. Let me know what you guys think down below. Till next time, guys.